Hey, up next on the Marmy Rock Show, good friend of the Rock Show, Mike Keller, is back with us. He is from Letters from the Fire out of San Francisco. We've been a fan of this band for a long time. You've heard him on the Marmy Rock Show many times before. They've got a new self-titled album coming out everywhere on June 15th. You can pre-order it now. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Man, it's a pleasure having you back on the show, and there's so much to catch up on. So let's start talking a little bit about the new record. First of all, give us some of the particulars about the record. We know it's due out on June 15th, but how long's this thing been in the works, and where was it recorded, and who produced it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know probably the biggest news is that we parted ways with our last singer, Alexa, and she was on the Worth the Pain record. And after that, obviously, we had to go out and search for a singer. And this was last year, literally right after we got home from the Seether tour. So we put the search out, and we found this amazing person named Nina Bergman. She had just basically got herself out of she had a Warner deal for 6 albums. And she got herself out, and she was ready to be in a rock band again. She didn't want to do the pop thing. And she joined the band, and I think we wrote for like a week, and then we literally went right to the studio and did the whole record in 3 weeks.
Now, where did you record this, and who was your producer on this one?
Yeah, we had this guy named Colin Britton, and we did it in LA, and he's actually he did the last Papa Roach record.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a great record to have somebody in your camp who did that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, hey, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about your new singer as well, too, but let's talk a little bit about one or two of the tunes. Now, I mentioned to folks, if you pre-order the record now, you get a couple tunes already, which is Comfort and Harley. Now, tell me a little bit more about Harley. You had a guest performer on that tune, didn't you?
We did. Rob Caggiano from Volbeat, he had heard the song, and he knew Nina just from acquaintances for a while, and he found out she was in the studio, and he's like, let me do a solo on a song. And we picked Harley. That just seemed like the most appropriate one, where there was space for someone to come in and just rip a lead. And I thought he killed it.
Now, that tune, tell me a little bit more about it. Is that something that comes from, are you guys bike riders? Is that a passion of the band's, or is it one particular band member? Where's that come from? Well,
so Nina's actually the motorcycle rider. She drives Harleys, and actually our drummer also rides. But the interesting story about that song that not a lot of people know, but they'll really find out when we come out with the official video for that song, is that song is actually a 100% pop song that she was basically forced to write for Warner. And the lyrics were very, very pop, very this and that, and there was no guitars allowed, et cetera, et cetera. So really that song is actually, it's kind of her big middle finger to the major labels. And what we did was we're like, well, let's do what they hated about it, and let's put like heavy guitars on it, and we won't change the lyrics, we won't make it more active rock, we'll keep it the way it is, but we'll make it heavy, and that's what we did.
I'm going to go out of order on my questions here because it's interesting. I sense like a shift in style a little bit since she joined the band, and like when I listen to some of the new stuff, I almost get a little bit more of a like heavier industrial kind of sound. Is that kind of true for you guys now?
I think for Comfort, you definitely had that industrial kind of like feel to it. We wrote that song with John 5, so it kind of has that kind of definitely industrial Marilyn Manson feel in the guitar riff, but it's definitely not the case for the full record. I think the record really, if I had to explain it, and I think when you listen to it, you'll understand, is that it's a modern version of your favorite '90s mixtape.
Nice.
We kind of wanted to get away from kind of being in the box of the active rock thing, so we really just called this record. It's just a rock record, with different influences and different kind of spectrums of sound, and we really didn't want to put ourselves in a box.
So tell us a little bit, I mentioned that kind of industrial sound and Comfort. It's pretty cool that you wrote that with John 5. I didn't know that about that tune before this interview. Tell me a little bit more about the making of that music video for Comfort.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was interesting because it was actually our first, faux performance with Nina, so we didn't really know what to expect or how she was going to mesh with the band, And just as soon as we started shooting, she just like totally fit right in, and she was doing her thing, And she's just such an incredibly positive person. So the whole process was really fun, really easy, and as far as the other parts, the shooting parts that she did with the male dancer, and her dancing part was really crazy, because we never had a singer who could do that type of stuff before. And she just really incorporated just a lot of the skills that she has, and it was really cool to see. And it's definitely different, and I know it kind of like it shocked a lot of people because it's something we've never done before. But it was fun, and we really enjoyed the way it came out.
Now, there's no doubt that Nina's brought like a different presence to the band. Talk a little bit just more. I know you've said a lot about her already, but kind of what has she meant to the band and the direction you guys are taking, in 2018?
Well, I think her voice is just different. It's a different style. Also, her vibe is different. So it really kind of inspired a different sound and kind of how we play and what we play. I would say this record is less guitar driven. Where like Worth the Pain it was all guitar riffs and solos, and the vocals was like, good luck, figure it out. Where with Nina, it was her melody lines and her lyrics, and then we wrote around her. So I would say that she brings, it's really just a different kind of energy. It's a fun energy. I think this record's really fun. It's definitely fun to play. So we're definitely excited to get out there and start playing some of these songs live.
Now, when you mentioned kind of the style the band's taking on these days, it was really cool to see that you're out and about on a really cool tour with a couple of great bands this summer. So why don't you tell folks about your upcoming tour?
Yeah, we're out with a band called Palisades, and it's their headline tour, and another band called Savage Hands, I believe was the name. And it's really interesting because, with our new sound, it's a little less metal, I guess, and these bands are also not so metal. They're a little bit more kind of like a pop rock feel. So we're actually pretty excited to kind of test out some of this newer material in front of a fan base that we think we can expand to. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, both Palisades and Savage Hands, great bands, and I think you'll fit right in with them so well on tour. They've both been guests on the show before, and bands that I'm a big fan of. So speaking of, Palisades had a little endeavor on Shiprock, and I wanted to ask you, I always ask, Shiprock bands, because we've been on, I guess, 7 of them now, to reflect on the experience, what it was like for you. So reflect back a little bit on the Shiprock experience.
Oh, I mean, Shiprock was probably one of the greatest things we've ever done. I mean, we, not last year, but the year before was our second year on there. And it's just, I mean, what an experience. And to be around rock fans that are so passionate about rock, and just to be around them, it's just so different. I mean, you're basically on vacation with your fans. It's kind of trippy. But, it's weird. I mean, how many times, can you go to you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go have dinner, and then you have dinner, and then you just all these people who know you and just want to talk or ask you questions. I mean, it's just such a surreal experience, and a lot of us got to do the Stowaways show, which was really fun, and that's a whole nother experience as well, because not only do we get to still play for the fans, but I got to play with people that were like my heroes that I grew up listening to, So that was just a trip.
Go back to that with your Stowaways. So tell folks, they're going to want to know about that. So talk about that performance with the Stowaways. Like, who were some of the heroes you got to play with?
Yeah, so I got to play Bullet the Blue Sky with Sonny from POD. And, I've been listening to POD since I was like in 8th grade, So that was really crazy. And then it was funny because the rehearsals for the Stowaways, it's kind of like this weird kind of hectic thing where you just kind of show up and you may be able to rehearse or you may not be able to rehearse, and you just got to show up knowing the key and be ready to play. And I didn't actually know Lacey Sturm was going to be singing as well. And so I got on stage and I looked over and I was like, oh man, that's Lacey, from Flyleaf. I was like, that's insane. And what's even crazier is she's like the smallest person on the planet.
Yes,
I really just wanted to go pick her up and put her on my shoulder. She's so tiny.
Well, we've had a blast watching you guys on Shiprock. For folks listening to this show, they're no stranger. We get as many bands from that boat on as we can on the show, and I love just hearing you guys talk about it. I have as much fun watching bands like you perform and just enjoy the experience as I do and enjoying it myself, I think. So, thank you. Hey, I saw something kind of cool. Nina was on the set of Doom, the movie. So what's up with that?
Oh, man, she's doing everything right now. She's currently in Bulgaria, so she's actually in the new Doom movie for Universal. She is one of the second female leads, and so she's currently filming that. I think she's actually done in a week or so. we're getting a shot to write the theme song for the movie, so we're working on that as well right now. And then she is also just got released. She is one of the characters named Battery on Call of Duty 4 Black Ops. Yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
So how do you guys find time to how are you going to wrestle her away from all this to do a tour? She seems like a busy gal.
Yeah, well, no. So the Call of Duty thing she had already done, so that was already finished. It just got announced, and then she finishes this movie. She'll be done for I think first week of June, and then we're pretty much touring for the rest of the year. And then her agent, her acting agent, and our music agent are actually under the same umbrella. It's APA in New York, and so they work together and they figure out what everything's what's going on. But I mean, we're pushing her to do as much of the acting stuff as possible, because that's not only is it great for her, but it just shows so much visibility for the band, So it's so far it's been really great.
Well, Mike Keller, man, from Letters to the Fire, it's really good talking to you again. I've had so much fun sailing on Shiprock with you guys and seeing you at other venues. The self-titled album is available everywhere June 15th, but you can pre-order it now. You'll already get Comfort and Harley when you pre-order that thing. They're already out of singles right now. So, Mike, man, I appreciate you so much being back on the show. It's great to talk to you again.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.